What if I told you that some of history's greatest warriors didn't die the way legends make us believe? These were men who defeated entire armies, survived impossible battles, and became symbols of courage for generations. Yet, when death finally came, it wasn't always glorious. Some were betrayed by the people they trusted. Some were captured by their greatest enemies. One of them remained undefeated on the battlefield until the very end. Today, we're uncovering the final moments of history's deadliest warriors. Their victories made them legends. Their deaths changed history forever. Let's begin. 1. Lucius Siccius Dentatus. Ancient Rome produced countless soldiers. A few earned a reputation like Lucius Siccius Dentatus, often called the Roman Achilles. He was believed to have fought in more than 100 battles and received numerous military honors for extraordinary bravery. Dentatus was admired by ordinary soldiers, but his growing influence also made him dangerous in the eyes of powerful politicians. According to ancient historians, he was sent on what appeared to be a routine military mission. Instead, it became a carefully planned trap. Surrounded by enemies with little hope of survival, Dentatus refused to surrender. He fought until his final breath. When Roman troops later discovered his body, it was covered with wounds, clear evidence that he had resisted until the very end. To this day, many historians believe his death wasn't simply the result of war. It may have been the outcome of political betrayal. 2. Spartacus. Few names have inspired freedom like Spartacus. Born into slavery and forced to fight as a gladiator, he transformed himself into the leader of one of the greatest slave revolts in Roman history. Thousands of followers by his side, Spartacus defeated several Roman armies that underestimated him. For a moment, it looked as though Rome itself was vulnerable. But eventually, the Roman Republic sent its most experienced commanders to crush the rebellion. During the final battle, Spartacus refused to flee. Historical accounts suggest he fought at the front lines, cutting through enemy soldiers as he tried to reach the Roman commander himself. He was overwhelmed in the chaos of battle. His body was never positively identified. Mystery has fueled legends for more than 2,000 years. 3. Labu. In ancient China, one warrior became famous for a simple saying. Among men Labu, among horses red hair. Labu possessed unmatched strength and incredible skill with a spear. On the battlefield, few dared to challenge him. Despite his talent, he had one fatal weakness. He repeatedly betrayed those who trusted him. Eventually, his enemies united against him. After the siege of Chiapi, Labu was captured alive. Even then, he believed he could persuade his captors to spare his life. Instead, he was executed by strangulation. His extraordinary abilities couldn't save him from the consequences of his own choices. 4. Guan Yu. While Labu became famous for his strength, Guan Yu became legendary for his loyalty. Respected general during China's Three Kingdoms period, Guan Yu earned admiration from both allies and enemies. His courage in battle became the foundation of countless Chinese legends. However, success often attracts powerful enemies. After a series of military victories, Guan Yu found himself isolated. Enemy forces surrounded him from multiple directions. He fought desperately to escape but was eventually captured. Rather than serving his enemies, Guan Yu accepted his fate with honor and was executed shortly afterward. Centuries later, he would be worshipped as a symbol of loyalty, justice, and courage throughout China. 5. Khalid ibn al-Walid. Few military commanders in history have inspired as much respect as Khalid ibn al-Walid. Known as the Sword of Allah, he led Muslim armies to victory in battle after battle. Remarkably, despite fighting in countless campaigns, Khalid was never defeated on the battlefield. He often expressed disappointment that he had survived so many wars while many of his soldiers had achieved martyrdom. In the end, his death came not in combat, but peacefully at home after an illness. Before passing away, he reportedly reflected on the many scars covering his body and remarked that, despite all the battles he had fought, he would die in bed rather than on the battlefield. For many, it remains one of history's greatest ironies. 6. Egil Skallagrimsson. In Viking history, few names are as legendary as Egil Skallagrimsson. He wasn't just a fearless warrior, he was also a gifted poet whose words could inspire kings or terrify enemies. From an early age, Egil displayed incredible strength and a fierce temper that made him both respected and feared. Throughout his life, he survived brutal battles, political conflicts, and deadly rivalries. Unlike many Viking warriors, Egil wasn't killed by an enemy's sword. According to Icelandic sagas, he lived into old age, gradually losing his eyesight and physical strength. Even in his final years, however, his reputation remained unmatched. When Egil died peacefully, people believed that one of the greatest Viking warriors had left behind not only a legacy of battle, but also one of literature. Centuries later, the saga is still considered one of the greatest stories ever written in medieval Iceland. 7. El Cid. To many Spaniards, El Cid wasn't just a warrior. He became a national hero. Born as Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, El Cid earned fame through his military brilliance during the Reconquista. Victories against both Christian and Muslim armies made him one of the greatest commanders of medieval Spain. His most famous story came after his death. Historical records suggest El Cid died from illness while defending the city of Valencia. Legend says his followers dressed his body in armor, placed him on his horse, and rode him into battle one final time. Seeing the legendary commander charging toward them, enemy forces reportedly panicked and retreated. Whether the story is true or not, transformed El Cid into one of history's greatest legends. 8. Prithviraj Chauhan. Few kings in Indian history are remembered with as much admiration as Prithviraj Chauhan. Known for his courage and exceptional skill with the bow, he successfully defended his kingdom against several invasions. His greatest challenge came against Muhammad Ghori. After defeating Ghori once, Prithviraj chose to spare his life. History took a dramatic turn. When the two rulers met again, Prithviraj was defeated and captured. Different historical sources tell different versions of what happened next. Some claim he was executed shortly after his capture. Others describe legendary stories in which he used his extraordinary archery skills one final time before his death. Whatever the truth may be, his courage ensured that his name would never be forgotten. 9. William Marshall. Many historians consider William Marshall the greatest knight who ever lived. Served 5 English kings during one of the most turbulent periods in medieval Europe. William fought in countless tournaments and real battles, earning a reputation for unmatched honor and military skill. Unlike many knights who died young on the battlefield, William survived decades of warfare. Even in his 70s, he was still leading armies and defending the English crown. Eventually, age-not war brought his remarkable life to an end. On his deathbed, William peacefully accepted his fate after a lifetime devoted to loyalty and honor. His extraordinary career made him the very definition of a medieval knight. 10. Richard the Lionheart. King Richard I of England, better known as Richard the Lionheart, became famous throughout Europe for his bravery during the Crusades. He was admired as one of the finest military leaders of his time. Ironically, his death didn't occur during a massive war. It happened during the siege of a relatively small castle in France. While inspecting enemy defenses, Richard was struck in the shoulder by a crossbow bolt. At first, the wound didn't appear fatal. The infection soon spread throughout his body. Despite receiving treatment, his condition continued to worsen. A few days later, one One of England's greatest warrior kings died not because of a great battle, but because a single arrow changed history forever. For more than 2 decades, one man stood between the Ottoman Empire and the rest of Europe. His name was George Castrioti, better known as Skanderbeg. Raised inside the Ottoman court before returning to his homeland, Skanderbeg became one of the greatest military leaders Albania has ever known. Despite facing one of the most powerful empires in history, he repeatedly defeated Ottoman armies using brilliant strategy and the rugged mountain terrain to his advantage. For 25 years, he refused to surrender. In the end, it wasn't an enemy sword that defeated him. In 1468, Skanderbeg died after falling seriously ill, most likely from malaria. His death devastated Albania. Within years, the Ottoman Empire captured much of the territory he had spent his life defending. Even today, Skanderbeg remains a national hero whose courage symbolizes freedom and resistance. 12. Tlahuicol. Among the greatest warriors of ancient Mexico, few inspired more respect than Tlahuicol. He was a famous general of the Tlaxcalans, celebrated for his incredible strength and unmatched bravery. During one fierce battle, Tlahuicol was finally captured by the Aztecs. Because of his extraordinary reputation, the Aztec emperor offered him freedom and honor rarely given to any prisoner. Tlahuicol shocked everyone. He refused. Instead, he chose to die as a warrior. He requested the right to fight one final battle in a ceremonial, gladiatorial contest. Armed with only symbolic weapons, he faced fully equipped Aztec champions. Although hopelessly outnumbered, Tlahuicol fought with astonishing courage until he was finally overwhelmed. His fearless decision turned him into one of history's greatest examples of honor and sacrifice. 13. Pyotr Gerlov's Donia. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, Pyotr Gerlov's Donia became one of the most feared warriors in European history. The Dutch giant was said to wield a sword so massive that most soldiers couldn't even lift it. Originally a peaceful farmer, Pyr's life changed forever after enemy forces burned his village and murdered his family. Driven by revenge, he formed a rebel force known as the Aramer Black Heap. His attacks terrified enemy fleets across the North Sea. Stories claimed he could cut multiple opponents down with a single swing of his enormous blade. Yet after years of fighting, Pyr realized endless war would never heal his losses. He eventually retired from battle, died peacefully from natural causes in 1520. His legend, however, continues to live on in Dutch history. 14. Galvarino. Some warriors refused to surrender, even after losing everything. Galvarino, a Mapuche warrior from present-day Chile, became one of history's greatest symbols of determination. Captured by Spanish conquistadors, he suffered a horrifying punishment. Both of his hands were cut off. The Spanish believed this would break his spirit. Instead, Galvarino returned to his people. According to historical accounts, knives were tied to the stumps of his arms so he could continue fighting. He led warriors back into battle with unimaginable courage. Eventually, he was captured once again. This time, the Spanish executed him. Although his life ended, Galvarino became a lasting symbol of resistance against colonial conquest. 15. Miyamoto Musashi. Perhaps no swordsman in history is more legendary than Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's greatest samurai, fought and won more than 60, recorded duels without ever suffering defeat. His unmatched discipline and calm mindset made him nearly unstoppable. As he grew older, Musashi gradually left the battlefield behind. Instead, he dedicated his final years to philosophy, strategy, and writing. Living alone in a cave, he completed the Book of Five Rings, one of history's most influential books on martial arts and strategy. In 1645, Musashi died peacefully after an illness. Like many legendary warriors, he wasn't remembered only for how he fought, but for the wisdom he left behind. 16. Hangi Hika. In the early 19th century, one Maori leader changed the balance of power across New Zealand forever. His name was Hangi Hika. Unlike many warriors of his time, Hangi understood that victory wasn't just about courage, it was about technology. After traveling to England, he returned home with hundreds of muskets. Those weapons transformed his army into one of the most feared fighting forces in the region. Conflicts that followed became known as the Musket Wars, and Hangi's military campaigns reshaped Maori history. Despite surviving countless battles, his greatest wound came during one fierce attack. A musket ball struck him in the chest. Though he continued leading his people for some time, the injury never fully healed. In 1828, complications from that wound finally claimed his life. Even after his death, his influence continued to shape New Zealand's history for generations. 17. Shaka Zulu. Few military leaders transformed an entire nation the way Shaka Zulu did. He revolutionized warfare by introducing new weapons, strict military discipline, and battle formations that made the Zulu kingdom one of Africa's greatest powers. His warriors became famous for their speed, courage, and deadly close combat tactics. Shaka's greatest enemies were not foreign armies. They were much closer. After the death of his mother, Shaka's behavior reportedly became increasingly unpredictable. His harsh decisions created fear even among his closest supporters. In 1828, two of his half-brothers, together with one of his trusted servants, carried out a carefully planned assassination. Shaka was stabbed multiple times before he could defend himself. The man who had defeated countless enemies on the battlefield ultimately fell because of betrayal from within his own family. 18. Alvin C. York. Unlike many famous warriors, Alvin C. York never dreamed of becoming a soldier. In fact, he was deeply religious and originally opposed war altogether. During World War I, circumstances changed his life forever. In one extraordinary battle, York almost single-handedly captured more than 100 German soldiers. His incredible courage earned him the Medal of Honor, America's highest military award. After returning home, York rejected fame and wealth. Instead, he devoted his life to helping his community and improving education in rural Tennessee. He lived a long life and passed away peacefully in 1964 after suffering several health problems. The story remains one of the greatest examples of courage combined with humility. 19. Simo He. During the Winter War between Finland and the Soviet Union, one sniper became a nightmare for invading forces. His name was Simo He, known as the White Death. He blended perfectly into the snowy forests of Finland. Using incredible patience and remarkable accuracy, he became one of the deadliest snipers in military history. Soviet troops launched countless attempts to eliminate him. Yet time after time, Simo survived. Finally, in March 1940, an explosive bullet struck his face. The devastating injury left him unconscious for days. Remarkably, he regained consciousness on the very day the war officially ended. Though the injury permanently changed his appearance, Simo recovered and lived quietly for decades. He passed away peacefully in 2002 at the age of 96. Many military historians, he remains the greatest sniper the world has ever known. 20. Jib. Every great empire has legendary generals. Only a few earned the complete trust of Genghis Khan. One of them was Jib. Ironically, Jab first met Genghis Khan as his enemy. During a fierce battle, he reportedly shot an arrow that wounded Genghis Khan's horse. Captured, instead of lying to save his life, he admitted the truth. His honesty impressed Genghis Khan so much that he not only spared him, but made him one of his greatest generals. He went on to conquer vast territories across Central Asia and Eastern Europe. However, The exact circumstances of his death remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Some historians believe he died during the Mongol invasion near the Caucasus Mountains. Others argue he may have been killed while retreating after a difficult campaign. Whatever the truth may be, one of the Mongol Empire's greatest commanders disappeared into history without leaving a clear ending. 21. Naresuan the Great. Thailand remembers King Naresuan as one of its greatest heroes. He is famous for leading his kingdom to independence from Burmese rule. His courage reached legendary status after a dramatic elephant duel against the Burmese crown prince. That victory became a symbol of Thai freedom. For years, Naresuan continued expanding and defending his kingdom. But even the greatest kings cannot escape fate. While leading another military campaign, he suddenly became seriously ill. Despite every effort to continue, his condition rapidly worsened. In 1605, Naresuan died before reaching another battlefield. His death marked the end of one of Southeast Asia's greatest warrior kings. 22. Lyudmila Pavlichenko. History's deadliest female sniper was Lyudmila Pavlichenko. During World War II, she became one of the Soviet Union's greatest heroes. 309 confirmed enemy kills. Her name spread fear across the battlefield. German forces even tried to persuade her to surrender through loudspeakers. She ignored every offer. Eventually, Lyudmila was seriously wounded by mortar fire. Instead of returning to combat, Soviet commanders ordered her to become an instructor, training the next generation of snipers. She survived the war. For the rest of her life, she remained a symbol of determination and courage. She passed away peacefully in 1974. 23. Lapu-Lapu. Long before colonial rule spread across the Philippines, one warrior stood against foreign invasion. His name was Lapu-Lapu. In 1521, Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines, believing victory would come easily. He was wrong. Lapu-Lapu refused to submit. On the shores of Mactan Island, his warriors fought with incredible determination. The battle ended with Magellan's death, making Lapu-Lapu the first native leader known to successfully resist European colonization in the region. Interestingly, no one knows exactly how Lapu-Lapu himself died. Some believe he lived peacefully into old age. Others believe he continued leading his people until the end of his life. His final fate remains uncertain. His victory changed history forever. Conclusion. History remembers these warriors for their victories. Their final moments remind us of something even greater. Some died on the battlefield. Some were betrayed by those they trusted. Some survived countless wars only to die peacefully years later. Yet despite their different endings, every one of them left behind a legacy that outlived their own lives. Because true greatness isn't measured by how a warrior dies. It's measured by the impact they leave on history. Which warrior story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more incredible stories from the past. Thanks for watching.